You know, the Rebbe wrote a letter to somebody in 1951. Rabbi Yitzchak Gansberg, Olav Shalom, Itzchak Gansberg, who was a shtickle mechutin of mine. And I remember he showed the letter to my father once before it was published. Today it's printed. But he asked the Rebbe, please have Rachmanis and become the new Chabad Rebbe. This is 1950-51, where the Rebbe was refusing to accept the mantle of leadership. And the Rebbe writes to him, I was shocked to read your letter. Do you know what qualities a Rebbe needs in order to be able to be a Rebbe? And the Rebbe starts going through the qualities. And the qualities are, first of all, he needs to have all of his thoughts and words and actions under control and completely refined. Besides that, his faculties of his soul, all his koiches hanefesh, need to be aligned with God, completely refined. Besides that, his koiches hahiyulim, the subconscious faculties, also have to be aligned with God. And then the koiches atzmim, the core quintessential dimensions of the person's soul, need to be worked out and reach their ultimate perfection as a conduit for Hashem's will. How do you shock me with saying that this applies to me? So it gives us a glimpse, just a little glimpse. You know, there's a book that came out recently from the diaries of Rabbi Leibel Groner, Zechrona Livracha. Did you see? It's called Hamasker, Volume 1. And over there's a description that he describes in one of his diaries what the Rebbe did before Yechidus. Nobody ever knew this. I never heard this. You saw?
Yeah, I heard about it, yeah.
It's unbelievable. The Rebbe would say Tehillim. The Rebbe would say Tehillim. The Rebbe would look out the window. It was like a moment of very, very serious meditation. Because that level of dveikus, that level of complete empathy, the Rebbe became a containing presence. He contained the person with complete compassion and not a centimeter of judgmentalism, and infinite love that came from him being a conduit for God's love, and really recognizing the inner pure soul and child in this person, and allowing him to become a mirror of that. How much healing was achieved in those moments?
Can I bring up something that I've personally heard countless times people mention as something that stresses them out? And maybe you could address it within the context of what you just spoke about, the empathy and the healing. It's a story in the Rebbe's first Basi Lagani about the Mittler Rebbe. It stresses people out.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. So speak to me in a context of empathy, complete lack of judgment, and healing. Healing.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe for people who don't know the story, it's a short story. It's a vignette. It's not even a story. So
a chassid came into the Mittler Rebbe. The way the Rebbe introduced the story the first time, the Rebbe's language was unbelievably refined. So the Rebbe didn't even want to say the details. He said he came in to speak to the Mittler Rebbe wegen solche Sachen, was junge Leid fragen wegen dem. Speak about issues that young men with raging passions.
You're adding that word.
Yes, I'm adding that word.
It was all very...
He said the things that young people talk about to a Rebbe. Well, there's very intimate stuff. Right. Later in the Maimonides, the Rebbe said what it was, Chatas Neurim, later, which means transgressions that are associated with the bris and with the intimate dimensions of a person's life.
And I believe in the Rishimas it mentions what it was in particular.
He came into the Mittler Rebbe and he asked a tikkun. He needed a path to repair. This the Rebbe says in his first Maimer, and the Rebbe starts sobbing. And the Mittler Rebbe rolls up his sleeve and he shows that his skin in a certain place was shriveled up. The Rebbe said,
to the bone.
Safad oiroi al atzmai. That was the Rebbe's lashon, which is from Tanakh, Yirmiyah. And the Mittler Rebbe says, this is because of your situation. That's the story.
So you just triggered me. So that's so the Mittler Rebbe tells the guy, you think you're a sinner? You're more of a sinner than you
Look
realize.
What you did to me.
You did to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Now explain it to me again.
Now, when I read it the first time, I had the same question. I'm like, help! The guy's asking for help. You have to make him feel so guilty. Oh, Gewalt. Somebody comes to me. Yeah? They tell me something terrible they did. Now, I know that the devastation was worse. They're crying. Their hearts are broken. They ruin their lives. People come constantly, addiction, other stuff. What do I tell them? Oh, by the way, you're a much bigger Russia than you imagine. The guy's trying to do tshuva. He's not trying to be sadistic. He's trying to do tshuva. Help the man. Rabbi Shais, you know what I did? I went to the tape and I listened to the original. You have to hear the Rebbe's voice. You have to see where he breaks down. Right after the story, he says this. This is many years ago, so I can't say it verbatim, but I think it's pretty close. The Rebbe said like this. The Richuk HaErech from the Mittler Rebbe is known. The Mittler Rebbe, you have to know, had the Alter Rebbe's head, the Alter Rebbe's Kedusha. The Mittler Rebbe was something unbelievable. You have to know the Mittler Rebbe a little bit from his letters, from his Maimonides. The Mittler Rebbe was kulei elokus, all godliness. The Tzemach Tzedek said if you cut his finger, blood wouldn't flow, Chassidus would flow. So the Rebbe said. But the Mittler Rebbe was something special, out of this world completely. And the Rebbe says, especially, you understand how aloof he was relative to a younger man who's dealing with promiscuity and immorality and things that are forbidden in Shulchan Aruch. So you can understand the distance. Now the Rebbe says these words. I'm saying it, I think, almost verbatim. Afal Pikein is the Mittler Rebbe gestanen. Mit Azah his kashrus und Azah his achdus. Mit the younger light und mit the Chassidim.
And the Rebbe is sobbing.
Sobbing. Listen to those words. Despite his aloofness infinitely, he was so connected and so fused with each one of his disciples, each one of his Chassidim, that there was no component of detachment. So that person's life and everything he was going through was mirrored and experienced by the Mittler Rebbe. So now let's go back to the story. And then I said, and that's the whole point of the Basi Legani, that's the whole point of the stories. That the Rebbeim, they not only they had skin in the game, their whole essence was in this world with every single Jew. And that's what the story brings up. The Alter Rebbe leaves Yom Kippur to go help a woman who just gave birth, so she should be able to have a soup, even though he's violating Yom Kippur, but it's Pikuach Nefesh. And the Tzemach Tzedek leaves his davening to give a loan to a simple Jew. And the Rebbe Marash goes to Paris, right, to deal with a Jew who's drinking Yayin Nesach. And the Rebbe Rashab goes to Moscow, even though he could send his brother, etc. So what's the Rebbe saying? The Mittler Rebbe, let me use my words, this is how I understand. The Mittler Rebbe was telling this chassid, you're telling me you're in the abyss, right? I just want to tell you one thing. I was there with you all the time. I never let go. You may have let go of me. You think you have let go of God, but I just want to tell you, I never let go of you. You're my child. Our love, our relationship is absolute. It's unforgivable. And if you're going to the abyss, I have to come with you. I'm sorry. I know it's not where I belong, but it's not where you belong. And if you're there, I'm there with you. And you know what that means? I'm going up. You're coming up with me because I'm there. We're going up together.
You used earlier the term empathy, or maybe I started it with the term empathy, and then you also used it, but this is much deeper than empathy.
Yeah, much deeper. Much deeper.
This is we're one.
We're one.
We're not empathizing with you.
Yes.
Not doing anything with you.
Yes.
I am you.
I am you. When
and not only I am you, I am you.
Yeah. And tzadikim doimen lebayram. Gam ki elech begeitz al mavis, loy irira ki ate madi. Im esak shamayim shamata, vatzia sha'oil, hineka. David HaMelech says about Hashem. Tzadikim, who are completely conduits for God's will, live this way. So the Mittler Rebbe says, look at my skin. I know where you were, but I know where I'm also there. I'm also there. And you say you destroyed yourself? I understand, but I'm with you. I am with you. But the Rebbe uses the words dveikus, his achdus, his kashrus. That's his kashrus. That's his kashrus.